It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Charles Kuralt.
The Russian poet and novelist Boris Pasternak wrote this: "When the war broke out, its real horrors, its real dangers, its menace of real death were a blessing compared with the inhuman reign of the lie." The reign of the lie did not end in the Soviet Union until the Soviet Union itself ended. The truth can be told now. David Culhane has some photographs to show us. They were taken during the long reign of the lie.
They are photographs that say something about Russia without the danger of words. Pictures taken during some of the worst days of communist rule. Pictures like this one of Russian poet and Nobel Prize winner Joseph Brodsky. And it was between prison terms for him.
I think they allowed him.
Russian photographer
I'm not
Lev
sure
Poliakov grew up with Brodsky in Leningrad.
I think you can see that this is the huge brain behind this face.
Poliakov came to the West in 1973, but it took him several years to smuggle his negatives out of the Soviet Union. Now, for the first time, those pictures from the 60s and 70s are being published in a new book, Russia, a Portrait.
It's about a Russia which is subject by realizing that it's something around you is wrong, very wrong, morally. You have to look for the way to say what you have to say.
But he had to learn to do it without provoking the communist regime.
Say without saying.
To say without saying.
Yeah.
There are two pictures that could stand as the most powerful symbols of the communist era. The first is this photograph of the KGB prison in Leningrad. Polyakov took it surreptitiously during an assignment to cover a birthday party in the building.
The windows are covered with a metal part, muzzle. This is what we call it in Russian, muzzles. So the prisoners in the picture cannot communicate to each other. It's covered with a metal.
They can see up a little
Just
bit.
a little piece of the sky to dream.
On the next page, we see a man who had just been released from that same prison. The KGB admitted that he had been arrested by mistake.
No food, no visitors, no letters, no knowledge of anything. You alone in a room. Once in a while, walk. That's it.
But isolation.
Absolute, to break you.
Joseph Brodsky wrote the introduction for the new book. And this is what he said. The visual idiom of any country is determined by its soil and the tint of people's dwellings. For that reason, the photograph's black and white is highly congenial to Russia, since the realm is predominantly threadbare gray. Does it strike you as kind of ironic that the book comes out at this incredible moment in Russian history?
Double ironic. It's first that it's coming here, not in Russia, and ironically that it's coming finally.
That we are now telling these truths and seeing these truths, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Truths like this. Russians continuing to go to church in the face of state opposition.
People want freedom, of course. They don't know what to do with this yet, but they do want freedom. And mostly they want intellectual freedom, freedom of being alive without feeling danger.
Some of Polyakov's photos simply record his vision of daily life in Russia. This picture shows a World War II veteran sitting with his crutches at the annual Victory Day ceremony.
So it's a celebration of victory, but also a remembrance of history.
A lot of pain, specifically for the people who are not officers. They came back to empty houses. And if you'll go immediately, the next picture after this, you'll see the empty house.
And the empty house signifies
Empty house.
the empty house of Russia.
Exactly, exactly.
Polyakov hopes that someday the book can be published in Russia. He thinks it carries a special message for his homeland.
It's possible to survive. It's possible.
That's what this book says.
We have to be very careful, but it's possible.